Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And as OpTic coach Rambo explains what makes OpTic so strong in their present form, Shotzzy's warned him not to reveal too many secrets as they prepare for a massive matchup against FaZe this upcoming weekend. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. This also from Call of Duty yesterday. Snoop Dogg's back in COD. It's been a long time. I remember if you guys, played Ghost back in the day, the Snoop Dogg kind of voiceover pack thing they did. That was just so quality. Like, I wish they'd bring that back, to be honest. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be happening, but he's in the game. I don't know. This stuff's mental, but yeah, that kind of voiceover pack was just absolute quality stuff. I do miss those days. This also, just to mention, if you guys didn't see this yesterday, I did mention it in yesterday's video, but yeah, Dashy documentary up on the Breaking Point channel. It's honestly killing it right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already watched it. I woke up this morning, already had like 50k views or something, so it's going hard. It's going balls to the wall. I think you guys generally enjoyed it. So yeah, more of these to come. I really enjoy making these. There's been a lot of like kind of documentary style content I've been working on that channel as well, not just kind of the story of particular players, but also like top fives of history and stuff like this. So yeah, awesome stuff. Thanks all for the support on it as well, and we will certainly keep on rolling on this front, and the content's just booming lately, so you do just love to see it. This though from the Call of Duty side. So okay, we've got Vanguard Reloaded, this type of stuff. Interestingly enough, actually, I'll just bring this up on the big screen. Doesn't seem like this is kind of the second part of Season 2 or whatever. No additional maps really coming into play here, like we've got some Warzone stuff, multiplayer stuff. There's a new map called Alps or something for arms race only. No additional new maps. We were kind of hoping that this Casablanca map might potentially be viable. Doesn't really seem like that's going to be the case, to be honest. In fairness, the turnaround between Stage 1 and Stage 2 was so short, the players didn't really get a chance to actually prepare for it. So maybe after the Stage 2 major, during the kind of off-season break, or effectively that we have, not really an off-season, but it's kind of mid-season break, we have it in the entirety of April pretty much, until I'm pretty sure the start of May. There's a couple of things that go on in April, but there's no official league matches until the Pro-Am Classic right at the start of May. So that entire month they have off to potentially make roster moves. We'll talk about that one later today, but also potentially to try out some new maps, or hopefully they arrive some new maps at some point or another, but clearly not in this update, unfortunately. On the more positive front, they finally, during, after tomorrow's update that's coming through, the Boston Breach pack may finally be available. So some were saying it's going to arrive immediately with tomorrow, some were saying it's going to arrive over time. I don't really know how could it possibly take so long to put this together that it couldn't actually be there when they launched, because pretty sure these launched well over a month after the Boston Breach as an organization was announced, and then still it takes them another month and a bit to actually just slap the same stickers on, the same exact designs they've already made for all the other teams. Of course, the camo is just identical to the other ones, just with different colors. I mean, the colors here aren't even really the Boston Breach colors, right? Why have we got this blue? I don't know, it seems kind of strange. Boston have this green and black type design, which is pretty cool, and the white as well, but the blue, I don't really know where that's coming from. So, I don't really understand this stuff still. It's in the game eventually, if you're a Boston Breach fan, and I wouldn't blame you, to be honest. They're doing pretty well right now. That will be available in the store, it seems, very soon indeed. Some also updates from Crony just mentions on the ranked play stuff, some party restriction updates. So players in Masters and Challengers can now form parties with players up to 1 adjacent skill division away. Players in Elite can form parties with up to 2 adjacent skill divisions away. So definitely some beneficial things here. I think that's been some of the big frustrations, especially the way the SR works in this game, that if certain players are getting more SR than their teammates, for example, by winning and losing the same games, or winning and losing more SR despite being in exactly the same lobbies, then all of a sudden you end up getting to the point where your differential skill rankings, you can't play with your friends anymore. Just some frustrating stuff. Back in World War II days, they simply did it. If you win a game, you get plus 24 elo. If you lose a game, you get minus 25 elo. So if you play with your friends all the time, you'll stay being able to party up, if you see what I mean. But I mean, yeah, still, I guess they're addressing that to some degree. Let's talk about this then, right? So this is the current standings. Just did want to mention the potential tiebreaker scenarios here, because people were wondering what they are. So right now, Boston and OpTic are tied 3-0, 30 CDL points so far, 9-3 map win-loss. Now, let's say theoretically, in the final 2 games that Boston and OpTic play, they both don't play each other. Let's say they win both of them, they go both 5-0 with exactly the same map win-loss. Therefore, they'll be tied top 1, but of course, someone has to get the number 1 seed, and they don't play each other, so you can't do the head-to-head, right? Therefore, you need another way to do the tiebreakers. People were wondering what it was. My understanding of this is it goes to strength of schedule. So what this means is that you look at the teams that Boston played, you then look at the teams that OpTic played, where they finished. So let's say they finished exactly where they are right now. OpTic, of course, so far have played Los Angeles Thieves. They will play FaZe. They've played it also. They just played Florida. They just played Seattle. What you do is you look at all the 5 placings, the final placings of where the teams that OpTic played were. So let's say they were 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 or something like that. You average those out, and then whatever number you get is kind of the average placing of the teams that OpTic played. That number then refers to their strength. You do the same thing for Boston, and whichever team has the highest average of all the placings, that team was then considered to have the hardest strength of schedule, because the teams that they played on average finished finished higher than the teams that OpTic played, for example, in this instance. But still, that could still potentially be tied as well. And if that is tied, strength of schedule is tied, map win-loss is tied, head-to-head isn't relevant, all this type of stuff, then it goes to actually a playoff game. So I'm pretty sure if there's a world in which, I guess it is possible, that all that was tied down to the wire, there would actually be a tiebreaker match between the two teams to determine who gets the number 1 seed. So I don't really think that's going to happen, but it's possible you could have a playoff for seeding, which could happen all across the board here for potential tiebreakers. So very unlikely to occur, but it's still something I thought I'd mention because it's pretty cool indeed. Speaking of OpTic then, of course, we looked at what Scump said yesterday, what exactly makes them so strong right now, the ability of all the players on the team to make plays, but Rambo's not been so happy with how they've been playing the last few days, but certainly believes that their map pool is what really separates them from the other squads right now. He was explaining on the flank a couple of days ago that, okay, yes, their Berlin hardpoint, their Desert Siege Search and Destroy might not look so good right now in the professional matches, but when they get there on those maps, they're going to be very difficult to stop indeed. I'll roll the clip, then I'll share what Shotzzy had to say in the reply, because he was like, look, Rambo, don't give away too many secrets of what we've got planned.
Congratulations, OpTic Gaming, on winning back-to-back majors, because I don't think anyone right now, watching the way that FaZe has played 2 of these last 3 series, like, I don't think anyone right now is a more complete team than OpTic, and I agree with what Asim's statement was. Like, once you got to the later parts of this series, like, I just feel like FaZe is, making a lot of mistakes, and they're still not going to be able to match OpTic in control.
He's lead jinxing. He's lead jinxing OpTic. We gotta get
away. Yeah, we know what you're doing.
I do think OpTic is the second best team in the game.
Rambo, what are your thoughts? Rambo, what are your thoughts?
Their revenge tour and assert their dominance.
Hey.
I was good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for the entertainment value. I'm not here to speak opinions. The only thing I'm gonna say is
I like that, Ray.
Like just understand, like, yeah, we won our matches the last, or was it this weekend, 1 or 2 matches, they were not clean by any means. So if you guys are saying we're just gonna come in, blow everyone out of the water, we got some work to do.
That's what I'm saying. They're delusional.
Yeah, that's what I agree, Pat.
Some maps got close, but you guys were still dominating.
I mean, like right now, the strength of our team really is our map pool right now. Like we can play anything against anyone. We're fearsome or fearless. Obviously, our Berlin HP needs some work, and that's what we're working on. And if we can get to that point, I'd be very worried if I was any other team in the league right now. But
anything else, Ray? Anything else?
We got some
Berlin.
Berlin. I mean, dude, it's been...
OpTic is 19-3 across all 3 game modes on Tuscan. So if I'm any team, I'm banning Tuscan in all 3 modes.
Don't do it, Asim. You're good. You guys got it.
I mean,
I see you.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, Ray's not going to comment on this, but they're good at every map. I mean, they're pretty confident.
Are.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, except Berlin hardpoint. And Ray, if you want to talk on that, you can. 0-4 on that one.
Just know, I mean, I'll bring this up. I won't attest to the Berlin. I'll just bring a little flashback to the Modern Warfare season, their championship run. We were 0-6 on what was it, Azir Cave, going into the playoff championship that year, and then we went 3-0 when it mattered. So just wait for it. All right.
Ray 100% went on because he was in my stream, bro, and I was watching it. Hi, Ray, are you in here? Yo, Ray, I'm not sure, man. You were teaching us, dude. That was kind of risky, dude. That was kind of risky, bro. Shush, I wasn't teaching nothing. Don't be teaching, dude. Don't be teaching, Ray. All right, man. Before I get my out, dude. I was asserting dominance.
So I think Rambo's probably bang on the money here, right? And that's the thing. Last year, FaZe was such a dominant force that the only team really in the entire game that was ever thinking about expanding their map pool was FaZe. The other teams needed to win all their series in the regular Pro League as much as they possibly could. They couldn't afford to, like, let series go or let maps go just so they could try out, different maps they're not particularly used to playing. Last year, FaZe was pretty much the only team to do it. The OpTic Chicago guys last year, the other squads, generally they would just pick the maps they were comfortable on so they can try and win a series, right? Because winning a series is important for seeding, for qualification, all this type of stuff. This year, it's kind of OpTic in that boat. They realize, okay, they made the first grand finals. They know that their map set against FaZe in the grand finals. They won all the respawns. They lost a couple of the search and destroys until the final one on Berlin, where they won the grand finals. But just in general, OpTic's map pool isn't maybe where it quite needs to be. And last year, that was the case for FaZe. They realized, okay, look, if we get good at all these other maps, the maps are also very different in this game. Right? The difference between Berlin hardpoint and a Bacard hardpoint is night and day. So OpTic realized they've got to get good at all of these maps if they want to consistently win grand finals finals, and of course they've had the opportunity to do that, right? And Rambo reckons that's actually their biggest strength of the team, that no one can match them on the depth of the map pool, and that's what they tried out, for example, against Los Angeles Thieves when they went for that Desert Siege Search and Destroy, went for the Berlin Hardpoint, lost both of them, but still, in the end, that should work out better for them in the long run. Of course, this I thought was pretty interesting. I looked at their game map win mode records and stuff like this. Their Tuscan is just absurd. In Search, they're 4-2, Hardpoint, they're 6-1, and in Control, they're 10-1 on Tuscan, 3-0 on Gavutu. So they have an insane control record so far. Very reminiscent, honestly, of FaZe last year, isn't it? But there are two maps in particular they're not great at. For example, Bocage, they're 1-1 in Search and Destroy, 0-3 on Desert Siege Search and Destroy, 0-4 on Berlin Hardpoint, and 2-2 on Gavutu. So, I mean, yeah, definitely there's two maps they want to work on, Berlin Hardpoint, Desert Siege Search and Destroy. They tried it against Thieves. They reckon that they're going to have more opportunity to do that going forwards, and that's going to be the strength, right? And I thought what Rambo said was very interesting, actually, about aBeZy Cave, because this was kind of a big discussion back in the Modern Warfare days, that going into the World Championship, it was the Dallas Empire that really turned another gear in their aBeZy Cave hardpoint, right? I think Shotzzy was even pulling out, like, the Growl, whatever that gun was called. Like, they had some new strategies. They had a crazy new rotation they would do on aBeZy Cave they pulled out towards the end of the game. Like, they were pretty bad on Cave that entire year. Then Rambo and Crimsix and the rest of the guys for the World Championship came out with an entirely new setup. I'm pretty sure, like, what they did is held down spawns in one location for, like, 3 hills in a row, gave up a load of time at P4, held all the spawns for P5, the entirety of it, then P1, then P2 as well. And that was incredibly important for them to actually win those games at the World Championships that they did and get them over the line. So maybe, like Shotzzy's kind of saying here, that maybe they've got some other plans kind of lined up, right, to, well, turn their record around as it was on aBeZy Cave in Dallas Empire when Shotzzy and Rambo, of course, and nearly were there on that team at the time, to what they're trying to do this year to turn around their Desert Siege and their Berlin. They've got some other things lined up, right? And Shotzzy's like, look, don't reveal too much. Yes, our map pool's good. We're certainly working on some other things as well to make it even better, and that's what they reckon is going to be their strength going in towards the end of this year. Going in towards the major coming up very soon. These are also power rankings I thought was quite interesting. Deserto changed these to some degree. Not really sure why London were ever number 2, to be honest, over FaZe. I think this is pretty clear cut. Boston Breach, though, up to number 4, which is very impressive from them. I did not think this team this season was going to be this high. I thought Boston could be maybe a top 8 team on a consistent basis. Maybe they'll get into top 6, but it was going to be difficult. What it's taken, though, is some other teams. LA Thieves, for example, now down here in 7th. Seattle Surge in 9th. Los Angeles Guerrillas still 10th. New York managed to get, the battle of the trash cans right here at the bottom, but still, maybe they're even better than that, and they can continue to move up the pecking order. Minnesota here in 6th, which I feel like flatters them to some degree, but probably it's just because a lot of these other teams have fallen off over the last several weeks. So yeah, can OpTic actually win this one against FaZe? Doesn't really matter all that much, to be honest. I'm pretty sure Rambo said it doesn't really matter if we win or we lose. What matters is if we beat them at the World Championship in a few months' time. But of course, well, the majors between now and then are very nice indeed, and the match will also have some importance for seeding as well, and also just getting another confidence boost over FaZe if they can manage to achieve that. This also from Enable I thought was pretty cool. I saw this on Reddit. Besides the OpTic Complexity Dynasty players, I've been to the most finals in a row. He reckons it could have been 8 in a row. Pretty impressive from Enable, to be honest. Like a career that gets overshadowed, I think, by some of the greats of the game, but still a legendary controller esports player from Halo to Call of Duty, especially because he's lost his thumb in a childhood accident, if you guys don't know about that, so he literally plays with one thumb. The word tippable is getting on my nerves, but I suppose it's tippable at the end of the day. This also I thought I'd mention here from Dylan, just because it was such a nice throwback, looking back at the colour schemes that were rumoured just before, in 2019, before this, when the CDL was announced, and we thought there was going to be teams coming in. We knew the LA OpTic, right? We knew some of these teams, like the London Ravens. There was a load of talk about this, like what it was going to be. Like some of these team names that were correct, at least the leaks as a result. Some of them weren't even confirmed yet. And look at the Florida Mutineers, kind of how ugly those were. Like these were the rumoured ones. Some of these came relatively true, like the Minnesota's kind of close, London's kind of close. Like OpTic obviously is kind of easy to predict, and New York is pretty good actually. This logo is pretty much bang on. But yeah, the rest of the colours weren't exactly accurate. But yeah, I mean, Toronto and Florida just look absolutely terrible. Glad they went down a different direction on that one, and there's some skirt merch for the CDL if you guys want to check it out. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care, and I will see you next time.